everyone, welcome back to more Ace Attorney. Show number 2, Resolve, Twisted Karma and his last bell.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Days after that earth-shattering trial and Cosmo regained his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. 1st of November, 10:24 a.m., Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Foyer. Professor Mikatoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Sato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer of the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikatoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? I guess Ratchet, Clank, Jack and Dexter? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then. About Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Do I know you? Oh, Father! Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. No, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has. I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive at the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man, and why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go, then. Oh my god. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Nosuke Naruhodo, guilty. Oh, you're... just bring your gavel everywhere you go? The court will now hear the trial of Inosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Jigoku. How are you? It's been a long time.
Ha 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 ha. Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Ha 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 ha.
Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time.
So, London again after all this time. I'd believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What are you talking about, Eugene? Ha 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 ha.
Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar.
Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. Ahem. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. Ministerial status. You didn't have to go through all of that, did you?
I knew you were jealous.
Ha 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 ha.
Sorry, ministerial status?
Yes, did you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs.
It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on this study tour.
Guilty as charged. Ha 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 ha.
Well, he's as he looks.
Yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday.
Oh, you did?
It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. How about what happened 10 years ago? That tragedy.
Yes, could you tell us any more about it? Can I look around the place? Look at those cases on the trolley. Ooh. Let me see them over there. It's a trap. Oh, you look familiar. Was he on the jury one time? Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes. You see all the sparkling jewels up there. Blah, 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 blah. I don't really know much about Sly Cooper, so I'm just gonna go with Nathan Drake, I guess. A chandelier designed to provide elegant lighting in large, spacious rooms like this. And together every gem in the world just to illuminate one room. Probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light. If you hang something like that to the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping on the floor. Perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Mr. Naruhodo. Can I talk to this man? That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay.
Oh, so do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there?
Yes, I'm sure it must be.
I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like.
If the hotel fee was paid through our stipend, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland.
True, London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning.
Look at that, picture the Crystal Tower.
Great Exhibition is one of Britain's most prestigious achievements. Wonder how tall it is. 20-meter tall chimney on the penthouse. And then Thomas Allen. Sure. Did you know that over the channel in Paris there's a tower that's 300 meters tall? Is it the Eiffel Tower? What? How many times taller than the chimney at Yume's second hot springs is it? And when it's at home, how does it draw properly? The smoke would get stuck, surely. I don't think it's that sort of tower, Mr. Naruhodo. I guess that's everything. This case here is mysterious. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. And I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris. We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself for Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugene. You are close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father? Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. Well, what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up, as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there.
Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death?
I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma has since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us.
So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part, then.
As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January.
But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father?
In actual fact, no. But I did know.
is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say? I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now.
Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia.
What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently.
I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days.
Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Yujin here, Genshin Asogi, and myself. We were the original 3. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady.
Yes, grandmother told me.
He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. No more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after the trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long.
I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here.
Sada-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo, I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been.
Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me.
Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my London study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born.
Yes, I heard.
The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event in my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too.
Oh, yes, Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man, and it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind, so perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. One other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Mrs. Otto.
Now then, allow us to take your bags.
Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck, it's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir.
Yeah, wasn't he at the Gilded trial?
Well, I think given the occasion we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course.
I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think.
Oh, well, I'm pleased then, but we were interrupted before. Professor Mikotoba was about to ask me something.
Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us.
Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him.
Anything new? Case is gone.
The spade is still here, look.
Please, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, as I think you well know. It's a shovel.
It didn't take long to reignite that old argument.
Ah, I have an idea. Let's give the implement a name, like Professor Harebrain named his tools.
Oh, I never thought of doing that.
From now on, then, let's call it Rinosuke.
No, it's clearly much more of a Susato. The old argument has taken a new and unexpected turn, it seems.
What to do?
It's good news that Professor Mikotoba arrived safely, isn't it?
Yes, it's wonderful, and the fact that Father has been invited to this important international event really makes me very proud to be his daughter.
Your father, Judge Jigoku, us, and Kazuma, of course. There's an ever-increasing number of Japanese here in Britain's capital, isn't there?
Well, yes, I suppose so. But London does have a population of 6 million people, so I think we're still a minority.
Susato-san's father, who came here as a visiting student 16 years ago, and Kazuma. It's almost as if some great power has been at work, drawing them here across the ocean to London. And I feel as though the waters are starting to swell again now.
Whee!
What was that?
A man screaming in a most unflattering way.
Do you think... could it have been Mr. Sholmes?
Oh my, I do hope not. Whee! I don't do it anymore.
Mon ami. Stop saying disgraceful display, Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red.
I think They must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two, you come on with me now. Down to the clink. No, not in prison. It is dark in there, but I don't like it.
Bong. The darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared.
But you were always scared of the dark.
Shut your mouth, you idiots. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist.
I don't like this. I don't like it.
Well, tough. We'll finish this down the yard. Now get moving.
Bye then, Jenny. Have fun.
Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. Sounds like the sad cat dance meme.
Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Reno.
Hello, Iris. We're home.
Well, did you find your daddy?
Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend.
Oh, well that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon.
Yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is that the greatest of problems known to man. Why is your hair red? But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say.
Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea.
Whatever is going on here today? In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Let's see. Drawing stick figures. Cheap apples at the market is what albums say. Little figures can speak. Their questions may answer. Can I ask what his why his hair is like that?
Mr. Sholmes, who were the two gentlemen that were here before?
Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye at all manner of infractions.
When the mood takes you?
All manner of infractions. But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out.
Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes?
But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally.
You should have asked Gregsy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party.
I did said word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha, I have it. A bungler. That's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads have been up to no good. Was their crime dyeing his hair red?
I wonder what the men did.
I mean... what was that about the greatest problem known to man that you mentioned before?
Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes?
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance?
Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere, possibly.
It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops.
Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man.
Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why, is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent!
But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tesples only the other day?
Pshaw, a large sum. One potted her for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you.
Honestly, honey, you know you squandered it.
Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least.
And what was the answer?
Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes.
Don't tell me. Let me see.
Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think.
In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if the charade goes on much longer. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us, I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. That case aboard the SS Burra in January. Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
No, I don't really watch VTubers. Oh, how horrible.
It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh!
I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes.
So... the hair... Am I supposed to look at something? Right now, let us go. I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it?
Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker. There's probably nothing, like, important to look at. So, I guess I'll be leaving now.
Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here?
My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say?
This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress made you all but invisible to me.
Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Whenever you come here.
Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord, I'm right here. Ugh, kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you are no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeek. I will attend at once. Don't you stare at me like that.
He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he?
I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service?
Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Sid.
Ah, of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Sid's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though, disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing?
What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Where's Kazuma-sama?
Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world?
As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million.
I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making, 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why This landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization of the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something.
You're every bit as passionate in your own way. I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm the only person in the country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It is my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So, the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Sid at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic I'm getting tongue-tied. Forensic Investigation Department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial.
You simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though.
Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General.
I don't know what's the difference between policing and policing. Is that the same thing?
This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. About Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeek's in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Hold on a second.
Oh my, so he stowed away to get here.
He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeek's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeek's. I have high hopes for his future.
By the way, do you know where he's gone?
No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being.
Oh.
I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi.
What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was...
Ah yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain.
They were such awful murders, and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon.
And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So, the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand.
Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were blithe on the aristocracy of the day.
Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Benefited society as a whole. Or so a few fair thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right, I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey. Anything? Does it look like it? Back to the hotel? No. Just one. Practice makes perfect. You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruhodo. No more excuses. Oh yeah, I see it. All these papers have never been done. Okay, so this is basically all the same stuff. So I'm just gonna take this time to look around and rest my voice for a little bit. Hopefully that helps me not stumble over myself. Well, we already got one photograph taken. Gold. Tears of joy from my mouth. Anemones breed at an extraordinary rate. Don't suppose it'd be permitted to stay inside. Very well, and only Iris is allowed inside. You can visit Mr. Shells in his room. Drink some strange concoction. Stragagore. This looks like last week's edition. What's the article circled in red ink there? It's in an advertisement column. It says, "To the Redhead League." The Redheaded League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but...
Is something on my face? Clearly this has something to do with that. The lively hair.
Okay, what's this about? Redheaded League. On account of the bequest of the late Ezekiel Hopkins of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the league to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Apply in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street.
God, that was painful.
Okay, I guess that's what I needed. Okay, blah blah blah. Let me talk to...
It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Shums. To the Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way?
I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair.
So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruto.
Sorry?
In the first instance, in quite indispensable observation.
Believe me, I could have seen that hair at my eyes shut.
So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits.
Regale or boast? So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of this advertisement you circled?
You noticed it in the paper then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment.
It was? How?
According to advertisement,
the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance.
In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair.
That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week?
But why? Why are they paying people? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I, just on the off chance.
That might be stretching a point, I think.
The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away.
Yay! It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try to join in his place? Correct. I mean, look at me! Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow?
No.
So why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruto, though it pains me to admit it.
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Sato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into the method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves, and in the course of my work I stumbled upon a potion that when taken turns one's hair flame like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass.
But Mr. Sholmes, it is quite safe to drink. Is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should never have doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say...
But of course, to earn £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely.
So anyway, you heard about Polo Congrats yesterday with his new red hair. Well, the park on 9th Street with the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members.
So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with redhead folk, like a coaster's orange barrel. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that hair in to the police.
Oh dear, what a disaster. Behind on those 2 redheads.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Aha! Here's my guest now, my latest client, with money to spend.
Ooh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating, save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you?
Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent's due.
Twack.
Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, please, oh please. Please find my husband, he's run away.
Shook. To upset me. I beg your pardon? Never mind, a personal matter, my apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruto? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please.
Of course.
What's the matter, Mrs. Otto?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yes, she was in the trial the other day.
Yes, now you come to mention it.
Evie. Evie! As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure.
Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. being offered a case to solve is reward enough.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're the picture of benevolence.
I will of course make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also.
If I might inquire, sir, this gentleman and lady would be...
Oh, me.
What I am about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand.
Ah, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
Ah, I can vouch.
He's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up?
Mrs. Vigil.
Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps?
Oh my!
Psh, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week?
Ah, I knew I recognized her.
A man's faith in the palm of one's hand? Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine.
I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. Boy.
It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean.
Pardon?
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It is frippery, really, nothing more.
Now look what you started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Mr. Vigil? Tell us about your husband, madam.
Mr. Vigil, my daily, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
He looks so sad. An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably.
As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh!
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
A guard? That is somewhat unusual. They call wardens warders? So, your husband is a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out.
Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishments?
And at such times he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. For that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged?
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it.
Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery.
No. Lowgate Cemetery, the very place we were discussing in court. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet undeniable.
Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
Pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry, yesterday? That really is recent. Laughably so.
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night, but this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, it has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever could have done, whatever could have happened?
My dear Mrs. Vigil, please calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Why, naturally, but sadly, they refused to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for 1 day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, the chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it.
You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
You seek only to put the sweets right in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir.
Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I am quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Thank you. Now allow me to show you the door.
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two. Are you sure?
I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of day tomorrow. And if by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent. And what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked, at Barclay Prison, I mean. So you noted that.
Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. so it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor. And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Run along to the prison and see what you can glean, would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you gonna go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was a quite different matter. So I'll leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. Of course you are. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. Why is there a guillotine in your clock? This place is full of hardened criminals. I can remember the last time a civilian was done here. And you didn't want to talk to an inmate but to me. Do you ken who I am? I'm the governor of Barricading Room. Oh yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Renosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean... Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes. Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door. I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I have no intention of speaking with the suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out my hair. Oh my god, this is hard. Scottish people. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Isogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I remember your name. You're sniffing around boot the case, aren't you? Yeah, agents, part of the Professor Great Room, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get going with you, before I punch your lights out. We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Caden. What are you thinking, Mrs. Otto? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have had some ideas to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Do you want me to go back to... I said get out. Can I... Okay, God. Dr. Strawn hurt. He's bullying me.
Sholmes is somewhere. Okay. Hello, sir. That's Professor Mikotoba over there. Ah, hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. Where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs.
I only just arrived in the country today. Goodness, he is full of energy.
Professor, you mentioned something before about how you know the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it is the same man.
Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners.
Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful, if you had the time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment, reading my newspaper. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable set. Now, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts.
Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts?
Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Letter of introduction. Good luck then. Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least call you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. The heck?
Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Gross. First class cabin 001. Yokohama departure 11th of September, London arrival 1st of November.
Oh, this is about the Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on to Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's called Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving at Dover.
I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Burda. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo?
Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Okay, sir. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this, then? You cannot put the world over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikotoba. That young jock from the forensic laboratory. That Mikotoba. Yes, exactly, him.
Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Mikotoba's daughter, Susato.
Ginge, you're the young man's daughter. And you didn't mention that before.
I do apologize.
Well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I ever forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits? Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing.
I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you, eh?
Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing.
Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I haven't heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh,
But how can that be?
it's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil?
That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now.
Clearly that means something to him.
Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Of course.
This grandfather clock is fitted with a terrifying blade that keeps dropping down.
It's modeled on the guillotine, a French execution device. You might have heard of it. And yes, for your esque, it can chop.
Hands off, you mean?
Heavens no, carrots and parsnips and so forth.
Oh,
If you place the large carrot at the bottom there in the morning, by evening it'll have been cut clean in two.
well, the blade must have an almost indestructible edge on it then. I can't tell if this guy's Scottish or Irish. And I'm not very good at Scottish accent. An accent.
There's a story behind every one of those.
You mean,
The rifle was a famous killer's murder weapon, and
I think you're in the realms of fantasy now.
that axe we want to use to chop down a cherry tree at my house. You wish. Gosh, on the left are the ones I got my first burglar with back when I was a bobby.
The stories were a little different to those you imagined, I think, weren't they?
Yes.
To relief.
I'm expected to find a parrot in a prison.
Given where we are, it's hard not to see the poor creature as a prisoner. Idiot! Did they kill me? Ah!
Has the bird learnt to mimic the plaintive cries of the inmates in the cells? Oh no, he was one of the 3 siblings, you see, and he still calls out the names of his 2 brothers like that all the time. Right.
Idiot! Did they kill me?
I hear you, laddie. You want your dinner, didn't you do it? Dinner. Very large cabinet. Inmate register. Alphabetical order. That's 50 years worth of records. He's been staring at me for a while. understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here in the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder.
Sorry, did you say was?
Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job.
Oh my.
When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? I can have been much less than 10 years ago now.
What?
But 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago. Aye, as I mind it. You can... I haven't heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing now. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it.
I think perhaps Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here.
Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago.
Ah!
Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison.
So, Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us. What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter.
You mean he was dismissed?
It was after a particular walk.
Sorry, a walk?
Aye, that's our word for it in here. A walk to the gallows.
An execution.
It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only Vigil did something unthinkable in that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post.
But why wouldn't Mrs. Virgil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here.
I wouldn't ken anything about it, I'm afraid.
I'm trying to understand what he's trying to say. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what would that be, Anne?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's?
My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm at no liberty to answer that.
I see. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. Do you ken? Do you ken?
What does that mean?
Yes, I can imagine.
The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, and the basement of St. Sinners is still in use today.
St. Sinners, that's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Mikotoba and I are used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate terms.
For more fresh material, I suppose.
Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and go on about dissection and all sorts. Aye, it takes me back. Have a pot of tea and a plate of cough biscuits, of course.
How charming.
He was a good fella, your father, reliable, and did sit on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose.
Well, can I tell you anything else?
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one more for your weighing. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years now, of course.
Oh my,
Sir? It's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mine.
Vigil's dismissal. Thank you very much, Governor Caden.
Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree.
We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes what we found out about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect, having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape of the prison convict just prior to his execution, and some full cooperation. Barry Caden. Indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. The convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff and
We're back. Hello, you two.
Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so make some scones for us all.
Ah, so that's what the delicious smell it. Oh my god. Greetings, my dear fellows. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my.
Pray tell me, what of our border friend? Have you gotten some new information?
What if, like, next time we come in here, he'll have green hair, or like purple hair, or something. Maybe orange hair, I don't know.
Yeah, something very surprising in fact, though it's not a patch on your hair to be honest. Maybe pink hair, who knows?
It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that... Sholmes!
Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important.
Gina.
I can't Adam and Eve.
What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. But Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss.
What do you mean, Inspector Gregson?
The boss is... He's dead.
What?
They just found his body, shot with a pistol.
What?
But Inspector Gregson? He was murdered. No, not Gregsy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Oh no, Gina. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... he was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene.
Where did this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
Outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd be a proper detective. Oh, Ginny.
So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is?
They got him already.
Already? They've caught the shooter so soon?
A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him.
Who? What awful person did this?
I still can't believe it myself.
Gina?
It was the Reaper.
Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Ziegs for it?
That's right. The Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss.
No, Lord Van Ziegs. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Bert Von Ziegs the police have arrested.
I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard.
I don't believe it.
But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him.
So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses?
They heard the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and the Reaper bloke in the room.
But there's no way Lord Van Ziegs would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come in all as soon as you can. You gotta help.
The detectives want to appear whenever some sinister plot has unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, huh? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregerson? Mr. Naruto, I shall leave at once to begin my investigation. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you will intend to do so anyway. Until later then. Inspector Gregson dead and Lord Van Ziegs arrested.
Reno, Sissy, I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mrs. Otto?
Yes.
Do, 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 do.
There he is, Lord Van Zeke's behind bars. So it's true, he really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zeke's.
Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be with the last person on Earth I'd like to see.
I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened, that Inspector Gregson was...
Go home. This has nothing to do with you.
But... Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him, at the very least. We owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please.
There's really nothing I can tell you.
What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case?
This. The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with this information as to share case details. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Oh, who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain.
Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university.
And I would like to read my correspondence in peace, so let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know?
Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zeeks never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zeeks? What happened?
How much do you already know?
We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street, and that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested. We were told that there was nobody else in the room, and there were some witnesses, and that witnesses heard the gunshot.
Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself.
But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you?
I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers.
So he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Oh.
After all, you're not representing me.
He's going to need a lawyer, though. Who's going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zeeks?
Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, if all the defendants I prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequent died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not.
I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole.
But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you?
It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that.
What does he mean by that?
After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
You mean?
Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day.
Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now.
He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry.
There was a 2-second silence, that's all.
Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you.
I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like... I'd be happy to advocate for you.
You trust me, do you?
Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly.
It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one.
What?
Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese.
But, please...
I have no intention of engaging your services.
The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems.
I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time.
Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this desperate and rented old room is where it happened then. So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere. Oi, what you think you're doing there? Every one of them jaws has got to be taken right out so we can look underneath it all. I want the space above the ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you lot ever gone in a house, got over in a house looking for dough when the owner's out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative technique she wants everyone to adopt. Oh, so you've turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pulling at stuff and flicking and that hat and his old thing just scuppered. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me. Gina, would you mind if he investigated too? Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes, why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you?
Oh, poor Gina. She's never gonna forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever.
Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina. Lena, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place?
That's what I want to know. It's what, half a year since I got out of the clink. That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead.
Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he?
Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard.
Goodness, really?
They say he managed to solve some really tricky case just like that.
He did?
Yeah, and ever since went out on sort of always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently.
That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this?
I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all, and look what that landed him.
Respect for the Reaper? In what way?
I heard him say as much. I take my hat off to the fella, were his words.
Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper.
Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke.
I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard.
He said something else to me and all. That I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that.
Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here?
Apparently it's been rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone?
Boone?
Hugh Boone?
Hugh Boone? It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him.
I see. Well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place for a long time, if ever.
Right, all the lads from the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do for themselves.
I do wonder. Yes, Mrs. Otto? Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How can that be?
Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his.
I never even considered that.
Nice work, Sis. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves.
You are?
If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hit at it.
We should really investigate this place in detail.
I see that's where the poor inspector was found, over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall.
Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely.
And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's in it, no denying that.
What? Really?
How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with the big eyes, the big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some big weird lawman or whatever, who said so. Why don't you ask him?
A bigwig lawman, is it?
Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under the window there. There are some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot.
Oh, but I don't recall seeing anyone outside.
Yeah, they've all been taken down to the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here after all. They'll be getting the grilling.
Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves?
I doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for and what you'll be up for, grilling and all.
So we can't interview the witnesses then.
Shame. This looks like some sort of notice board. Autopsy report. Case notes. Details of prison inmates. Whoever occupied this room. Excuse me. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Poor man, he can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. Ah. What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are! Look, Mr. Naruto, quickly! Oh my god. Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Of course she's familiar. We met her only this morning. It's Mrs. Vigil. This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. Empty fireplace. Liquid dust. Be farewell. The words, whoever in this room must be extremely hardy and cold weather. Sorry, sir, can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. So, I suppose this is where the victim... That's right, the rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Mr. Gregson himself has already been taken away, and would probably be under Dr. Sid's scalpel by now if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruto? You look like you just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that bloodstain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds could be even worse than reality. Sato-san is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! A bright red hairpiece. And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And it's such a flame-colored red, too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly. This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it. This is presumably the murder weapon, then. Oh my! It is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot. No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. What's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeeks playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful, after all, in a way. You're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector. Don't worry, we'll look after things at the yard. Someone very haphazardly nailed boards or broken glass. Well, if you remember the window of Mr. Natsume's room, it's totally blocked out by bricks. This one does at least let in light. Good, say nothing more about it. Starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's wax spatter on the wall behind, look! I suppose if a bullet had hit it. It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Ugh, now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. Alright, let's take a look. Ah, there's some black marks here, look. Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks. So perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems. Yes, I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. This charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too, for fun? The hell? What's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door, not at that size. So what is it for, I wonder? This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key, like a music box or something. What's the little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? And what's it for? I suppose this must have been the murder weapon. Oh my, it is real, I suppose. I think so. always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. It doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. But you must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean. It might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think? So, like, Gina with the firearm? Gina, what do you make of this? What is that? Evidence? Something about what happened, have ya? No, not exactly. I ain't been on enough in the job to get all the deduction business yet. Well, I swear I'm gonna get the person who did this the boss. She might not have anything to say. Just making sure. That's everything. I will go back here then. Maybe they want me to show him the gun. No, I can't. Okay. Sholmes?
You've made good time. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart, can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork.
It's Kazuma-sama.
Your timing is impeccable.
It is.
No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry.
Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zieks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zieks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
Oh no, surely not.
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes.
So does that mean the trial's tomorrow?
Precisely. And In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Sogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings, leading the prosecution. Wait, what? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law.
Kazuma-sama is a prosecutor.
I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting.
Why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation.
I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact.
You're quite right, Miss Mikatoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. So I'll introduce one of Brain's greatest prosecutors. Renosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months.
Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't gonna end well, my friend. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zeeks?
That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene.
Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct.
It's certainly a model that's issued all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim.
No, Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Van Zeeks? He claims it's currently not in his possession.
What?
According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
Just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything, including what I was coming here to do. Right.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. But there's something that won't return to the way it was before.
Huh? What do you mean?
I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon.
Doesn't look like we're gonna glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart.
Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery.
Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Hello?
Before you go, Renosuke,
Oh, what is it, Kazuma?
I just wanted to thank you.
Kazuma-sama, what?
You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change your own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here.
Oh?
I actually have a favor to ask.
Which is?
This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as the defense counsel.
Why? What's this all about?
I know you have what it takes.
But Lord Van Zieks would never put his fate in my hands.
On the contrary, he recognizes your talent.
He does?
It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this.
That's Lord Van Zieks and Inspector Gregson. In a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. And who's the third person?
It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office.
In Gregson's office, you mean?
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it.
I don't understand. Why are you giving me this?
Just hurry, Renosuke. Visiting hours of the prison are almost over.
What are you doing, Kazuma? Okay, I'll go. Yeesh. Yo, Van Zieks. Lord Van Zieks is still reading that letter. We've been gone quite some time, though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. Or he just keeps rereading it. I might even be able to read English faster than he can.
I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Japanese.
Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that.
I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time.
Yes, we heard that your trial's set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business.
So, have you found a lawyer?
How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you.
In other words, no. were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is.
It's going to be Kazuma Asogi.
Asogi!
I made the color drain from his face.
Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all.
Can I show you this picture first? For Van Zeeks, we came by this old photograph.
Where'd you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost.
Is the man on the left there?
Yes, that's my brother, Clint.
It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that?
Respect? That's nonsense.
No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less.
Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you.
I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle, an insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the Stone-Cold Reaper of the Bailey.
10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi.
Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father.
So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court.
I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you.
It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the outset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve? And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that?
Sogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you, Nipponese.
Right, your hatred for all us Japanese.
I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor, assigned to the investigation as his partner, was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard.
And that was Genshin Asogi?
Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the scribe prosecutor?
The man in charge of the professor case inquiry, Lord Mail Strongheart.
Wait, what? Lord Strongheart?
He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead.
The
Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And, of all things, as a lawyer.
I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing for us Japanese.
I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred has festered inside me. I can no longer control it.
And I can understand why. Now I know the history.
But in the same way that I've been long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life. To Kazuma Sogi, I'm the bane of his. The Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He is looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow. Gregson's transfer to the Paris police prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy.
Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean?
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
Oh?
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place.
It sounds like that mystery is even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would never have been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my, 10 years ago? Why is that so surprising?
Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death.
So you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then. And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
Inspector Gregson.
Thought the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene.
Ah, yes, that's not mine.
Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is.
What do you expect me to say to that?
Lord Strongheart informed us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true.
When did you lose it then?
That, I don't know.
Oh,
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stored it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps.
you have something in common with Lord Van Seeks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things.
No. This has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear. The rift is very wide, isn't it? Decisive evidence, clearly, but it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name.
I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in.
What's that?
That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth.
Lord Van Zeeks?
From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now, I couldn't deny it, even though I clearly wished I could. Dearly wished. Here's a loathsome Nipponese who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Isogi. The man he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me.
You mean this photograph?
Back then, I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I looked to the future with hope. Since then, I protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe.
I'm so sorry.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me?
Of course I will. It would be an honor. I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
Then my life is in your hands.
For Lord Van Zeeks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask, which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma. Okay, I'm gonna end it here because my throat's all messed up. So start the trial next time. Depending on how long it is, maybe we'll finish the whole episode. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next stream / video, whatever you want to call this. And just take care. Bye.